don't think there are any sinister persons deliberately trying to rob people of their freedom. But I do think, first of all, that there are a number of impersonal forces which are pushing in the direction of less and less freedom.
In part 2, we learned about the coronavirus agenda, how it's not so much about the virus as about imposing change on society, ostensibly towards the New World Order. Much of this by mind control, according to the first Hermetic principle, that the real battle is in the mind.
What it basically means is to change the perception of reality to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country.
The elites use symbolism as a form of sorcery to mock the people and plant suggestions in their subconscious.
Ay, caramba!
It's a great brainwashing process.
And I would say it's also very important to teach people to be on their guard against the sort of verbal booby traps into which they're always being led, to analyze the kind of things that are said to them.
If you know propaganda for what it is, you are protected from its lies.
And I found that ideas were weapons and were even more effective than bullets.
I decided that if you could use propaganda for war, you could certainly use it for peace.
They've turned controlling your behavior into a science and an art form. They freely admit it. And here's how they're doing it. In their own words.
And so we worked out the engineering of consent, which applies to any social goal.
We can think of nudges as small interventions that can move communities and sometimes whole populations. They can move nations. There is a framework all over the world now. It's called the East Framework. It's very simple. E means easy, A means attractive, S means social, and T means timely. Such successes as we're observing in many nations are made possible because people find it easy to do what is the safer thing, whether it's finding a mask or staying home or finding a way to wash their hands. The S in the East Framework is even better. It is social. And the idea here is that people really care what the social norm is. There's evidence that suggests people want to protect themselves, to be sure. But if they think they're endangering others, then their attention really is triggered. They don't want to endanger other members of their community. So to signal there's a new social norm here and people are generally following it is a life-saving strategy. The best idea, I think, in social science in the last 10 years points to the scarcity of the human mind. That for all of us, we can't focus on everything. And under conditions of poverty or illness or distress, the amount of mind capacity we have to devote to problems, it's just limited. And the pandemic has been increasing the scarcity problem for populations under the world, all over the world.
You get the message about masks to be a, kind of bipartisan, let's protect other people type message.
It may not be your life, but your choices could be the difference between life and death for someone you love, or for a complete stranger.
Let me put it very clearly. You have no constitutional right to endanger the public and spread the disease, even if you disagree. You have no right not to be vaccinated. You have no right not to wear a mask. You have no right to open up your business. If you refuse to be vaccinated, the state has the power to literally take you to a doctor's office and plunge a needle into your arm. They should give you an alternative. The alternative is to live in your home. Don't get vaccinated, but never, ever leave your home or live in a bubble. The Constitution doesn't give you the right to spread your illness to other people.
This is not about the virus. It never was. This is about societal change, tearing down the old and bringing in the new world order of authoritarian global control.
One way to think about this is that this 1 month, 2 months period has brought forth 10 years of forward change.
Society just needs to change more quickly to this new paradigm.
It takes very little power to break a fragile balance. The true power lies in putting the pieces back together again.
The COVID-19 crisis has shown us that our old systems are not fit anymore for the 21st century.
The Great Reset is a welcome recognition that this human tragedy must be a wake-up call. It is imperative that we reimagine, rebuild, redesign, reinvigorate, and rebalance our world.
We have a golden opportunity to seize something good from this crisis. Its unprecedented shockwaves may well make people more receptive to big visions of change.
History would look at this crisis as the great opportunity for reset. Secondly, we know the digital economy is the big winner of this crisis.
We need to invest in 5G.
More or less everything will change.
In short, we need a great reset.
The technocracy is engaged right this minute in a coup d'etat that will attempt to conquer the entire planet for the sake of establishing a technocracy. But it requires the death of capitalism and free enterprise to implement. Anybody who has the power to shut down the global economic system in the first place has something going for them, you have to admit. Not everybody could do that.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
Will life as we knew it ever return, and should it?
We will not be going back to the old normal. The pandemic has already changed the way we live our lives.
And after crisis, with the violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis.
You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
With new beginnings, changing our lifestyles, we've got to think and think twice.
Does it seem at all to you that they have something planned for us? That they are celebrating some sort of new world coming? Something that they've been waiting for a long time? Did we ask for this? Does it make any sense now, or do the reasons seem a bit fake and contrived?
Things can reopen if we do the right things in the summer, but it won't be completely normal.
What is the isolation strategy that eventually leads to us getting back to normal?
What we need is the extreme shutdown. Normalcy only returns when we've largely vaccinated the entire global population. We need that for the entire world if we're going to go back and have people taking vacations, international students, international sports events. So it'll take a while till we get this thing finished off on a global basis.
But one of the things that you have to be able to do is to track people who are positive.
You're absolutely right. The predicate for getting back to some semblance of normalcy is our ability to identify individuals through testing, to be able to trace their contacts, to isolate individuals that have either been exposed or quarantine people that are tested positive. And that's just going to require an army of folks and individuals to allow for their privacy to be impacted.
Even if we do have a vaccine, it wouldn't end the pandemic on its own. We cannot go back to the way things were.
Remember, we're in this together. No one will ever be truly safe until everyone is safe.
It certainly will not be safe for you to go outside the house until the radio tells you.
No one is safe until everyone is safe.
We should use the massive amounts of government intervention to create a new world that is more in accord with our views of what our society should be like.
We need to change the relationship between humankind and the nature. Now we need to tell new stories and create new values and visions based on the future, not on the past.
The building back better requires place income distribution rather than economic growth at the epicenter.
In order to meet the challenge of today, we can't just build back the way things were before. We have to build back better.
Why is Joe Biden spouting the same talking points as the UN? The curious timing is no coincidence.
We can do this. We can build back better. I'm looking forward to getting started as soon as we can.
If there's building to be done, then who are the builders? That's the Masons. Look at Biden's logo. Those are the 3 steps of Freemasonry, and the eclipsed sun. Building back better is not just building the New World Order. It's also building the Jewish Third Temple from which the Antichrist will rule the world. The Antichrist is the so-called son of David, i.e. the reincarnation of Solomon.
The first 3 degrees are the initiation into Freemasonry. They also center around the building of the Temple of Solomon.
Give people light, and they will find the way. Give people light. I'll be an ally of the light, not the darkness. It's time for us, for we the people, to come together. And make no mistake, united we can and will overcome this season of darkness in America. You know, American history tells us that it's been in our darkest moments that we've made our greatest progress, that we found the light.
The 1,000 points of light.
We can find the light once more. Let us begin, you and I together. Light is more powerful than dark. This is our moment. This is our mission. This is our mission.
This is my mission. A new world order.
Now, history will be able to say that the end of this chapter of American darkness began here tonight. And this is a battle we will win. We will win. We will win.
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
And we'll do it together.
But this global pandemic has also created an opportunity to build back better.
We never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
And climate action is an essential part of it. We're doing this to support the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And later this month, we'll reconvene to discuss our progress and our next steps.